Hello and welcome to Mindshifters Radio. I'm Tim Hayes. I'm your host for the first hour. And today is Thursday, September 16th, 2021. As always, we're grateful to everyone who's joining us here today, whether you're listening live or through the archives, as we spend another couple of hours teaching and supporting people in using some of the most powerful, effective, efficient, and accessible tools I've ever encountered. These tools are available absolutely free through the tireless efforts of Dr. Michael and Jeannie Ryce on the website at whyagain.org. If you go to that webpage, click on the Start Here link in the upper left-hand corner. It'll take you to a page where you can download and read Chapter 24 of Dr. Michael Ryce's book. His book is titled, Why Is This Happening to Me Again? And that chapter of that book contains a narrative description of the primary tool in this work. That tool is called the Reality Management Worksheet, sometimes called the Reality Management Wake-Up Sheet. It's a tool I've been using to great success for 17-plus years to remove negative emotions and improve the quality of my life and most of my relationships, and turn any negative emotional experience into part of the infallible guidance system that we've all been given. You can also download the actual tool itself. It's a simple PDF file. Click the link, download it, print it off, and use it as often as you'd like. You can also go to your app store and type in the 3 words Heartland Aramaic Forgiveness and get access to a completely free and private app that contains the Reality Management Worksheet, an abbreviated version of that worksheet process, and a copy of the Dragon Klingon game, which is a wonderful way to introduce these tools to even younger audiences. You can also download a whole host of audio files which have been curated out of the past 10 and a half years of this radio show archives, and some of them contain powerful testimonials about the use of the work. Some of them are actual living examples of people being stepped through the worksheet process, and some of them are discussions about how the dynamics actually fit together for such a relatively simple process to be so powerful and effective. So we hope people go there, download the chapter 24 and read it, go to your app store, download the app and start using it, watch some of the videos if that's of use to you, and then call us with your comments or questions. The area code 563-999-3581. If you call that number and press 1, it'll put a little question mark by your phone number, and I'll announce it by your area code, and we can have a conversation. We also have been committed to do the Course in Miracles workbook lessons this year. Today is the 259th day of the year, and today's lesson reads, Let me remember that there is no sin. The commentary reads, Sin is the only thought that makes the goal of God seem unattainable. Sin is the only thing that could blind us to the obvious and make the strange and the distorted seem more clear. What else but sin engenders our attacks? What else but sin could be the source of guilt, demanding punishment and demanding suffering? And what else but sin could be the source of fear, obscuring the Creator's creation and giving love the attributes of fear and attack? Father, I would not be insane today. Father, today I would choose sanity. I would choose to perceive accurately. Today I would choose love. I will not seek refuge in the opposite of love, for love can have no opposite. Father, you are the source of everything there is, and everything that is remains with you and you with it. Pam Grout's Course in Miracles Experiment Lesson 259 is titled, Who's Still Sitting on Your Lap? She quotes the brilliant author C.S. Lewis as saying, Getting over a painful experience is much like crossing the monkey bars. You have to let go at some point in order to move forward. Pam writes, Marvel Comics' Kitty Pryde walks through walls. I walk through X-ray machines every time I board a plane. The TSA, I'm told, is looking for such contraband as scissors, cigar lighters, pool cues, and, of course, guns and bombs. By scanning our carry-on bags, airport security intends to avert all potential threats to our safety and well-being. Pam writes, I would like to invent a compulsory X-ray machine that detects all of the grudges, resentments, and other negative stories we humans carry, not only onto airplanes, but into every area of our life. For most of us, there's a whole crowd of people still sitting on our laps, riding shotgun on our backs, and clinging to our legs like dead weight. That old boyfriend who cheated on you in high school. That boss who failed to notice all your hard work. Although neither of these has made a physical appearance in more than 20 years, there is still an oppressing presence in your energetic frequency. Quite frankly, those invisible energetic connections are more dangerous than any shoe bomb. You can cut off all ties, refuse to never see that dirty, rotten person again, but as long as you hold fast to any belief, any story that this villain, so to speak, performed some sinister deed, then they still own you. They thwart your superpower. They intercept all the blessings and miracles that the universe wants to bestow upon you. Lesson 2. But Dale Allen Hoffman, Dr. Michael Ryce, J.M., Rocco Errico, a bunch of other scholars from the ancient Aramaic, they know that from the ancient teachings is you look at the fruit of your labor, you look at the results you're getting. And if you get really good results, you can call with your comments or questions, or you can email me at tjh@mindshifters-academy.org, or you can email Jeannie at jeanie@whyagain.org, WHYAGAIN.org. I usually end the podcasts and my blog posts with the following statement. We come from love. We're made of this stuff we call love. We actually are love, and everything else is false. Somebody sent me the Richard Rohr meditation for today, and he quotes from the book of The Lover and the Beloved, and that quote reads, "We are born out of love, we live in love, we are destined for love." So it's not new. It's not a new concept. It's not owned by anybody. The essence of creation, this creative force, the power, the beauty, the creativity of it, the extension of it, the reflection of it in itself is part of what people have been observing for thousands of years. And we're looking for ways to do two things. One is increase our awareness of that truth. And then the second thing is to learn and then gain effective skills in applying tools that help us remove anything that's less than that truth, anything that is based in a false negative conclusion, and anything that blocks us from having conscious, active awareness of our true nature. So I'm grateful to have my life at this point be arranged in such a way that I can donate my time to this work. And the current schedule of donating time to this work includes, but is not limited to, 5 hours each week on the internet show that you're listening to now, and then 3 hours on Tuesday night and 3 hours on Thursday night. And it often extends beyond that in other projects. And that time that I'm donating, that effort and energy pays me in other ways. Certainly not financially. Actually, it literally costs me money to maintain the website and the support groups and some of the other activities that I do. But the rewards that are available, that I see in my life, that are not related to the dollars and cents, they go beyond measure. And, one of the quotes Dr. Michael Ryce likes to repeat often is that we teach best that which we most need to learn. So if I'm still struggling with something and I'm willing to learn and get better, there's very few ways to get better at something that are more efficient than teaching it to someone else. My father used to say the old adage, see one, do one, teach one, and then that skill will be yours. So you see somebody do something, which is a skill that you don't have, and then you try to do it yourself, and then you teach somebody else how to do it, and now you'll have the skill locked into you. Well, what I've learned as a kind of an extension of that is that my learning is ceaseless. It's continual. It is flowering. It is growing. The more I continue to teach. What do I teach? Well, I teach awareness of the benefits of observation and the significantly more beneficial results I get when I live in observation compared to when I live from belief or dogma. And one of the first places in my growth, reading, spiritual growth, whatever you want to call it, that began back in the early 80s was to be introduced to the writings of Krishnamurti. And Krishnamurti observed the same thing that David Bohm observed, which is there's a flaw in our process of thought, which is the source of most of our mental, emotional, psychological pain. And now, what is that flaw? Well, it's hard to put into words, but I think one easy way to begin to conceptualize it is that our process of thought uses language and words. So in whatever way our language and our words are limited, our thought is therefore limited. The next thing that strikes me as so very problematic in our thinking and our language is the categorization, the labeling, the separating out of this as being separate and different from that. When at a very real level, there is no separation. And our physicists, our scientists are telling us everything is energy and all energy is connected. And yet, everything we do with our thought is about labeling and cataloging and separating things, judging and qualifying and weighing. And so we are using a tool which separates, and separation causes pain and fear and sadness and judgment. And we're using that tool, and then it creates pain, and then we say, oh, let's use that same tool to see if we can end the pain. And all we do is keep creating more pain, more separation, more confusion, more distortion. So how can I know when something I'm doing is clarifying distortion or leading me to better perception? I can know by the fruits. What are the fruits? How do I feel? If I'm feeling a negative emotion, I could choose to use that as the infallible signal that I'm in error, that my thoughts are off the mark, that my perception in that very moment is being distorted. And then, if I'm lucky enough to have been exposed to tools like Michael Ryce's Reality Management Worksheet, or the Mind Goal Management Sheet, and or the Mind Shifter Targeted Journaling Sheet, I can use that tool to start to remove some of the distortions, some of the false beliefs, some of the traumatic energies, which are actively distorting my perception. And the closer I get to restoring my perception to true spiritual faculty of perception, being able to see actually the full range of life as it unfolds, then I'm better informed, and whatever decisions I make, whatever choices I make from that point on, are bound to be more beneficial to myself and everyone around me. So that's why we try and teach these tools. We try and teach people the tool of the reality management worksheet. I had a new person in my office the other day who's never been introduced to this, and I suggested that he go to the MindShiftersAcademy.org website, and he found it very useful to go there and click on the link that has the best of audio files. And he began working his way through those audio files. There's Susan Bingham processing on the radio. It's about a 30-minute processing. I believe that's one of her worksheet processes. There's the summary of the work that poured out of me on December 30th of 2015, which was the best overall summary of this work and the weaving in of the tools of Dale Ellen Hoffman and Guy Finley, etc., Way of Mastery. There's a brief 7-minute testimonial from Susan Bingham. There's another worksheet Susan Bingham did. It's about a 30-minute file. There's a worksheet that Jill from North Carolina did on terror. And there's the interview with Pierre Pratervand. And in the near future, I will update that, and I will move some of those out and or add a file or two from the audio library or from other interviews I've done recently. But the audio library page has, I lost count of how many, it's probably over 30 files listed there. And the top one is a 26-minute file of me reading the reality management worksheet. And that was requested by some people who just don't do that well with visual material. Yeah, you can go to the whyagain.org website and click the link and download the PDF. But for some people, that form looks like a tax form. There's so many words and such small print and the glossary at the bottom. And for some people, visually reading something is not a good way to get the information in their brain. So it was requested that we have an audio version of the worksheet. So I sat down at the computer and read it in. And that's available at the top of the list. And I try to keep that at the top of the list. If people want access to an audio set of instructions about the worksheet, it's literally me just reading the worksheet. But again, through that list of files on the audio library page of MindShiftersAcademy.org, there are a number of other examples of people working through worksheets on the radio show. There are examples of me sharing some of my processing from different worksheets. And there are a few interviews that we've done here on MindShifters Radio. So it's an invitation. The invitation is take advantage of this. These are resources that have been constructed simply so people like you can have an easier time understanding what it is we're talking about, why we would do this radio show, and what the specific tools are that we offer. So the call-in number again is 563-999-3581. If you call that number and press 1, we can have a conversation. I was fortunate enough to make the connection with Dr. Richard Moss yesterday, and he's agreed to be interviewed. That will happen probably this Wednesday, the 6th of October. He is the author of at least 2 books that are of interest to us and our Mind Shifters radio topic range, and that is Inside Out Healing and The Mandala of Being, Discovering the Power of Awareness. So Inside Out Healing, the subtitle is Transforming Your Life Through the Power of Presence. So again, it's a Thursday. We're having a support group. I'm also taking the time, since nobody has a hand up, to remind people we would welcome your suggestions. What is one of your favorite books or authors or podcasts? I have mentioned before, Unapologetically Black Unicorns, UBU, as a wonderful podcast. And this is a person with lived experience with mental health problems, very bright woman, and a very bright star in the field of advocating for people in mental health. And she just, I think maybe in June of this year, began that podcast. And when her schedule frees up, she's agreed to be interviewed for the On Your Mind podcast hosted by Journey's Dream. I should also mention that October 8th, 9th, and 10th of this year, just about a month away, the Integrative Mental Health Summit is going to take place. It's a virtual event. You can get access to it through your computer wherever you are. There will be 3 days of presentations related to integrative, alternative mental health, holistic, functional mental health approaches. So this is something other than just, here, take this pill and stay in this hospital, or go into therapy for the rest of your life. These are people who are looking at a variety of ways that have been proven and a number of ways that are experimental to try and improve people's ability to go through a mental health episode and have it be transformational, have it be a positive life experience. Some of the people who are going to be on that speaker list and the panel discussions can be found at samehereglobal.org, or you can go to the website at integrativementalhealthsummit.org and register for $25, or pay a little bit more and get access to the recordings for a year or more. I forget whether it's a year or forever. And you'll be supporting this not-for-profit Journey's Dream that is committed to rewriting the narrative on mental health to one in which optimal health and well-being is possible and expected, and where mental health experiences, adventures, challenges become transformational rather than tragic. So I'm looking forward to interviewing Dr. Richard Moss. I'm looking forward to your suggestions for other book titles and people to interview. And we have about 30 minutes to take your comments or your questions, or outline a worksheet, or explain one of the worksheets. You know, one of the worksheets we haven't talked about in a while is the Mind Goal Management Sheet. And the Mind Goal Management Sheet talks about how the energies that we create, we call it stress or we call it tension, in our mind-body energy system, when we look at the world and we see it this way, but we say, hey, that's wrong, it should be this way or that way or the other way, that's what we call stress in this work. And what I say to people is that level of that stress is moderated by 2 factors. one of them is, and all I ever learned in all of those talks was, related to goals, is set them and achieve them. Set them and achieve them. Set them and achieve them. Set your goals for the week. Set your goals for the month. Set your goals for the half year, the 5 year, the 10 year, the 20-year plan. Set your goals for life. Write them down. The magic of just writing your goals down, etc. I was taught all of that stuff. But I wasn't taught anything about what Dr. Michael Ryce teaches in that lecture titled Getting the Stress You Need, that there are a variety of different activities that your mind can perform related to goals. Setting and achieving them are just two. Framing a goal before setting it is another one. Selecting a goal for active attention is another one. And canceling a goal is another one. Well, I'd never really heard of the need to cancel a goal, the benefits of canceling a goal, and he talks about it at length in that 2-hour video. So I recommend that video to people for a variety of reasons. The primary one is that you begin to understand how you're creating stress. And once you understand that, then you've got various options for decreasing the stress and or creating less of it in the beginning. Another reason is that he has a specific tool that he presents in that workshop, which is called the Mind Goal Management Sheet. And it highlights the value of framing goals before you set them so that you make sure that you only choose to set goals that are in alignment with your values and priorities and the relationships in your life and the results that it is likely to produce, and that you get very clear before you set a goal what it's going to take, what resources are involved, and whether or not you're willing to commit to that expenditure of time, effort, and money. The other thing is, in that lecture, he talks about how there was ancient knowledge that said it's counterproductive to set a goal that I cannot achieve in the next waking period. So the appropriate use of my mind energy to manage my stress and improve my life has me only setting goals that I can accomplish in the next waking period. Now, when most people hear that and they've been, trained on setting and achieving and setting and achieving and setting and achieving and have your year goals, your month goals, your 6-month, your 5-year goals, etc., that's just bizarre because I can't achieve my 5-year goals today, but I certainly want my goals. I want to plan for the future. And so there's an allowance in this work for having plans and intentions that go off into the future, but there is the delineation of the powerful difference between a plan, an intention, and a goal. And what it means is, for a goal, that means there's an intention that I have elevated to the commitment of doing a behavior to make it happen. And if I spend my mind energy committed to making something happen that I can't do until a year, 2, 3, 5 years from now, that's a lot of mind energy that I have focused on something that I have no control over, and that absorbs my resources. It constrains my resources, and it limits how much mental, emotional energy I have available to live my life in the moment, in direct observation, in actual relationship with the world and the people around me. And the way I manage that is to decide to start canceling every goal I ever set that didn't get achieved. and I choose to cancel every goal that didn't get achieved every night before I go to sleep. And just that practice of canceling goals can be a huge liberating factor for people. Michael has reported that some businessmen and salespeople have come to his intensive center and heard that lecture and gone to sleep that night and awaken the next morning having had the best night's sleep they can ever remember, because it is a powerful tool to learn to manage the stresses of my mind through the canceling of goals that I can't achieve in the next waking period. The good news is I can always set the goal again in the future. I can set it again tomorrow. I can wait until, it's let's say my goal is to sign up for a class at the college, but the enrollment isn't open. WHYAGAIN.org. Click on the Start Here link. Scroll down until you see the Mind Goal Management Worksheet. Click it, PDF file, print it out, use it as often as you'd like. If you want a more full discussion of how to use that, you can purchase the 2-hour video lecture, Getting the Stress You Need, or you can call the Internet show, or you can send an email. We've got another 15 minutes or so to talk about it. If you have any comments or questions about the Mind Goal Management Sheet, or the lecture, Getting the Stress You Need, or the value of canceling a goal, or anything else we've talked about in the last 10 and a half years on Mind Shifters Radio, give us a call. Let us know how we can support you. Let us know if there's another tool we've mentioned that doesn't ring a bell, or that you don't know exactly the meaning of it or how to use it. Tools like the Codependence to Interdependence Worksheet, or the Mind Goal Management Sheet, or the 3 Early Memories of Conflict, or the Mind Shifter Targeted Journaling Tool, or there's a newer one, the Power Person Worksheet. And my mind is drawing a blank for the other worksheets. I'm not looking at the list of them. But aside from what's available, the commitment. I literally pulled the commitment out twice this week and gave it to patients to use in their relationships. And it's a powerful tool that helps me get clear about how I want to act in a relationship and how I want to be treated in a relationship. And, it starts out with one of the most difficult parts of relationship, which is, the first line is, I promise to trust you enough to tell you the truth and be true to you. And there are those of us who absolutely know that sometimes can cost. That has a cost. Now, I also know that it pays big dividends, but it can cost. There are a lot of people that don't want to hear the truth. There are people in your sphere of influence. There are people in your relationship base, whether it's the intimate relationship, your business relationship, your casual friend relationship, and they don't really want to hear the truth. And that's one of the hardest ones right up front. I remember when Gay and Catherine Hendricks were going to be on the Oprah show, there were two critical points about that they tell in a story. And one of them was the producers of the Oprah show. It's a very heavily produced show. And they pulled them aside and they said, okay, here's your pre-show interview. Now let's talk about which one of you is going to be the talker. And it's a husband and wife, a very mature, very well-respected husband and wife marital therapy team. And they said, well, we both are. And the producer said, well, no, one of you has to be the talker. And they said, well, we both are. And the producer said, well, we need to just identify one of you because we only have one mic. And they basically laughed because this is the Oprah show. They've got, incredible resources. And so they just got serious, and they said, well, here's the bottom line. We are both talkers, and if we don't both have microphones, we don't go on. And so then the producer said, okay, here's the real story. Every time we've had a team of therapists on and we give them both microphones, they get into an argument, and Oprah doesn't want that. Well, they laughed and they said, well, we are going on. If you want us both, we both get microphones. The other part of the story, which is relevant to what I was just talking about, is that they said that when they went on the Oprah show, the thing that got the strongest reaction, positive or negative, it was a very negative first hour on YouTube for free. Now, if you want the whole 4-hour video, you need to purchase it, and they'll send you a DVD of it. However, it's amazing when you get a great presenter who's really on. Like not every lecture Dr. Ryce gives is really on. It's not always there's a good energy between him and the audience, and that he's not always perfectly tapped into intuition. But when he's on, it's amazing. And that was one of those that they thought, this came together so well, we want to give it to people. That's available on the YouTube channel. Why is this happening to me again? The whole first hour from a video that we did back in Woodstock, Illinois. So you can go there. Another tool we haven't mentioned in quite a while is the 24.5-minute video done by Michael Ryce and Bill Cosentino of a PowerPoint presentation that delves into the inner workings of the reality management worksheet. And again, this is another free resource. You can download it or just watch it over and over again from your iPad or computer or phone. And every time you do, you get a deeper understanding of what's the mechanism that is so powerfully effective in the reality management worksheet. And why would I cancel a goal? And what is the relationship between the goals I hold and the unconscious content? So we're excited to be able to offer so many good resources and tools, and we're delighted every time people take advantage of it. We've got more tools than most people ever discover, even if they come into this work and they like the support groups or they like the Mindshifter radio show, and maybe they'll do a reality management worksheet or two. But a very small percentage of people, in my opinion, actually dig in and get the whole toolkit of tools and start actively using them in their lives. However, when they do, the benefits abound. It starts to get amplified exponentially. It begins with my willingness to understand that I am creating my experience of life in each new present moment by what I choose to focus my conscious awareness upon. So, by definition, I'm a very powerful creator. One of the things I'm creating in each new present moment is my experience of life. Once I accept that responsibility for the creation of my experience, and I'm willing to learn and start to practice some powerful tools, now I've opened up, infinite possibilities for enjoying my life better, for being able to have, more time spent in gratitude and appreciation and acceptance. And the more likely I am to have people say to me, what are you doing? Something's different about you. And that's the very best way to teach these tools, to have somebody witness, have a different experience of you because you're using the tools on a regular basis, if not daily. So let us know how we can support you. Michael and Jeannie have another hour coming up. Today's Thursday, so we've got another hour today, 2 more hours tomorrow. Support group tonight that you can tap into or send to a friend who might want to tap into it. Let us know how we can support you. And give us a call at 563-999-3581 and press 1. Let us know how we can support you. Because there are only a couple minutes left, I'll remind you that we have the Integrative Mental Health Summit It's coming up October 8th, 9th, and 10th. It's hosted by Journey's Dream and Mensa Medical, and it's going to have lots of various speakers talking about holistic and integrative and functional medicine approaches to your health, mental health, physical health, emotional health. And it is quite reasonable to attend, and I've said a few times on the show already that if you'd like to attend that or get access to that virtual summit, webinar, etc., and you don't even have the minimum money they would ask you for it, you can email me at tjh@mindshiftersacademy.org, mindshifters-academy.org, and I will make sure you get access without any money if money's a problem. And we'd be happy to arrange for you to get access to that for free. If you can support them for that minimum donation of $25, that would benefit and help them, spread these tools to even more people who don't have any access to funds at all. So I'll remind us all that we come from love. We're made of that stuff we call love. We actually are love, and everything else is false. Welcome, Jeannie Ryce.
Thank you, Dr. Tim, and thanks for letting me know that the app was messing up again. I've got the technicians in India working on it. Hopefully it will be fixed by morning. So I appreciate you letting me know.
It was interesting to me that I had a couple of people tell me that, and I tried it, and it wasn't working even before the latest Apple update that's supposed to be fixing that security gap. So,
all righty. Well, hopefully we'll have it working by tomorrow, and thanks for letting me know about it.
All right. You're very welcome. Have a wonderful show.
Thanks.